Deiveson Figueiredo versus Alex Perez takes place this weekend in the main event of UFC 255, Figueiredo versus Perez, and I can't wait for this matchup. The flyweight world title is on the line. The reigning defending champion, Deiveson Figueiredo, the god of war, Deuce de Guerra, the most terrifying 125-pounder in UFC history, in my opinion. I mean, don't get me wrong, Demetrius Johnson was a very good fighter, but he never struck fear into my heart physically like Deiveson Figueiredo does. The way he sent Joseph Benavidez flying all around that octagon in their rematch, and even in their first fight as well, that was terrifying to see. And just all of Deiveson Figueiredo's fights are just savage beatdowns, it feels like, where there's just an inevitability factor that these guys that he's facing are gonna get hit with that big shot. In fact, he loses a lot of his fights to begin with. Like, he's getting outstruck, he's getting pieced apart, but there's just Jaws music playing in the background as he loads up and finds his range with that right hand. He's a very, very dangerous man, and he's taken on a dangerous contender as well. Alex Perez steps up on short notice and takes the fight with Deiveson Figueiredo. However, he was already in training for a fight on this card. Very nice against Brandon Moreno, so he's had a full camp anyway, or as long as a camp as Deiveson Figueiredo has, that's for sure. Took the fight, stepped up to championship rounds. He has not been training for a championship fight, but I feel like it's not even worth mentioning right now. Alex Perez has had a full camp for this one. I mean, look at Al Quinter on 1 day's notice against Khabib. I feel like with the amount of time he's had knowing that he's going to go 5 rounds, he can make the adjustments. But Alex Perez, a dangerous, dangerous man, coming off a big win against Jussier Formiga, who's a guy who Deiveson Figueiredo recently lost to. Not recently, a couple of years ago, in fact, but he did lose to Jussier Formiga. He was injured in that fight, so you know, a lot of these things happen in MMA. I'm not going to use MMA math to break down this fight. I'm going to go with Deiveson Figueiredo completely annihilating Alex Perez in the first round. I just see this power in Figueiredo's hands that I don't think Perez is going to be able to take on the feet. Now, I will think, and I will predict this as well, before the finish happens, I think Alex Perez is going to be outstriking Deiveson Figueiredo, because Deiveson Figueiredo, although very powerful, and that can make up for a lot of things, he does get hit quite a bit on the chin, but he can take them so well, and he knows he can take them so well, and that's what I like about him. He's got this confidence in his power, and he walks people down. He's a bigger man. He's much stronger in the clinch. If you get in too close range, he's got elbows that he'll switch to instead of throwing hooks in the clinch. He's got a long reach for the division as well. I believe he has a 3-inch reach advantage here over Alex Perez in this fight, which is going to come in very handy, especially in the flyweight division. He's got a 68-inch reach compared to Alex Perez's 65. And Alex Perez is the taller man, so he's going to have to try and find a way on the inside of a guy who's shorter than him that hits as hard as Deiveson Figueiredo. I just don't like the idea of it. One thing I do like in Perez's game are those leg kicks. I feel like if he could be able to get enough of them off early, then maybe we'd be in for a bit of an upset, but I just don't see him landing too many of those leg kicks on Deiveson Figueiredo without getting hit with a check hook, because let's not forget, Joseph Benavidez tried using leg kicks on Deiveson Figueiredo in their rematch, and as soon as he went for the leg kick, he immediately got beat to it by a check hook from Deiveson Figueiredo behind the ear that staggered him all over the place, sent him to the canvas, and that was the beginning of the end. Deiveson Figueiredo, dangerous on the ground, dangerous on the feet as well. Same with Alex Perez, but there's definitely a more savage way in the performances of Figueiredo. There's a definite savageness meter rising on the side of Figueiredo here compared to Alex Perez. He's just absolutely destructive to people, and I really like watching it happen, and I think he's going to get the job done here against Perez in the first round by submission. I don't think he's going to be KOing Alex Perez, because Alex Perez has got a decent chin. He's never been KO'd in his career, but one thing I will say is, once you get tagged by Figueiredo, I think Perez is going to be looking to shoot some takedowns. Then he's going to get guillotined, much like Figueiredo did to Tim Elliott. He's got that ability in him to just latch up the neck on a guy who's shooting for a sloppy takedown. I think he's going to crack Perez really hard, maybe even go in for a leg kick whilst Perez is on one leg. I don't think he's going to KO Perez, but I think he's going to hurt him with punches, maybe even drop him, and Perez gets right back up, and then Perez is going to shoot a takedown, and Figueiredo's going to latch up a guillotine or latch up some kind of submission, arm in guillotine, you name it. Maybe he goes for the back once stuffing and sprawling a takedown from Perez. I think he'll get the job done by submission in the first round, but this is a dangerous fight, and I don't think that people should be completely overlooking Alex Perez. And Figueiredo is overlooking Alex Perez. This can pay off for the flyweight division. I've been waiting to see a champion that could sell some tickets as a flyweight. And don't get me wrong, this card won't sell many tickets. Well, there's no crowd, so it won't sell any tickets whatsoever. But still, this card won't sell too many pay-per-views. But I feel like we've got something here with Figueiredo. If we can just keep him active and add to his resume with some highlights, I think we can genuinely sell Figueiredo as a star in the UFC. He's so dangerous, and I think this is the perfect opportunity in the main event of his own pay-per-view to make a statement. Because listen, although you are not going to get pay-per-view buys of an Adesanya or a Masvidal or even a Conor McGregor Habib level kind of guy, or Masvidal as well could be in that level now. Dangerous guy. You're not gonna be in that ballpark of pay-per-view sales, but what you are going to get is the entire MMA media focusing on your fight this weekend. That's the best part about this for me, because I know he's not going to sell pay-per-views. This won't do more than 200k buys, and it's a decent card on the prelims. Hasn't got too many great fights on the main card, but still, I think this will do about 250,000, 200k buys, just because I feel like the UFC is a much bigger promotion now anyway, so people are naturally going to buy every pay-per-view, and it's just, I don't see this one selling too well. But in the future, if Figueiredo does get this one done, I could definitely see him becoming a bit of a bigger star, especially if he beats Cody Garbrandt. But one thing I want to talk about as well is that Cody Garbrandt should not be jumping the line in the flyweight division. I just want to mention that in this video again. Don't let Garbrandt come down to flyweight. He solves a perfect problem in the bantamweight division right now. We've got Frankie Edgar, TJ Dillashaw, Corey Sandhagen. Two of them are going to fight each other, and one of them's going to be left on the sidelines, and we've got a bunch of other guys below them, like Jimmy Rivera, Merab Dvalishvili, Raoni Barcelos, Song Yudong is technically coming off a win, Marlon Vera versus Jose Aldo is soon to be happening. There's a bunch of guys to figure things out, and we've got 3 guys at the top, and if Garbrandt just stayed in the bantamweight division and fought Corey Sandhagen, it would solve every problem. Or maybe we could do Garbrandt versus Edgar, and TJ Dillashaw versus Corey Sandhagen. Just having Garbrandt in the mix solves a lot of problems in the bantamweight division. I don't want him to go down to flyweight, because I think the winner of Moreno versus Royval, especially if it's Brandon Moreno, which I believe it will be, spoiler alert, well, you've already seen my full card predictions, but still, if you haven't, check out the channel. I feel like Moreno definitely has deserved it over Cody Garbrandt. I don't want to see him jump the line, but I do like the idea of Garbrandt draining himself, Mr. No-Chin, and getting destroyed by Figueiredo in the first round. But this fight is going to be competitive. I don't think Figueiredo should be the kind of favourite that he is, so if you're looking to make some money, maybe some money on Perez in the later rounds, because Deiveson Figueiredo is shown to slow down in fights. But one thing I like about him is he doesn't allow himself to get pressured. He's got a good chin. Alex Perez is a guy who likes to volume guys up. We saw that in his fight against, let me just find the name of the guy quickly here, give me a second, Torres. We saw that in this fight against Torres. Closed him down, got the first round finish, but ended up doing it with volume pressure. He does that to a lot of his guys, especially against other guys who end up shooting in on him like Espinoza and getting guillotined. He's got a very good pressure game. Once he's rocked you, he will start putting together some combinations. I just feel like with the movement of Figueiredo that we saw in his Alejandro Pantoja fight, we saw him even doing a little bit of Matador symbolism as well in the cage, mocking Alejandro Pantoja, because he was so able to just get out of the way of those shots as Pantoja was coming forward and skirt around the outside and get back to the center of the octagon where he can do the stalking. And that's where he's most dangerous. We saw this in the Joseph Benavidez fight as well. They clash, they're against the cage together, maybe Deiveson Figueiredo's on the back foot, he's got his back to the cage, something will happen, Figueiredo will find the center of the octagon, and then the other guy is just left scooting around towards his right hand. He closes off the left side. We saw this against Benavidez somewhat twice. He comes in, he measures you with his left hand, and he starts circling his way left, which is something that fucking Irene Aldana could learn about. Circling someone, for fuck's sake. Anyway, Deiveson Figueiredo fills you out with his left hand, circles left, but still encroaches towards you, ushering you towards your left and his right hand, and he plants it straight on your chin. It's an amazing time to be a fan right now, because the flyweight division has even got killers. Even though I appreciated Demetrius Johnson, there's just something about watching Figueiredo's fights. It feels dirty. Like, I feel criminal watching it. Like, I shouldn't have access to this footage. Like, that was murder. It genuinely was murder. The Benavidez rematch was just straight up murder. Like, the closest thing you'll ever see to it. And that was only helped by the referee not stepping in while Benavidez is clearly spasming out in the rear naked choke. He was just spasming his arm left and right, and the ref's like, are you okay? Get the fuck in there. Bisping saw it. I saw it live. Benavidez almost died, and it was terrible to watch, but I love watching Figueiredo. Amazing at the same time. Looking forward to this one. Perez is dangerous. I just don't see him landing enough to pick up the... I don't see him investing enough on Figueiredo. He's a volume guy. He's got to land shots to the body, shots to the legs. And I think every time you do that, you leave yourself open to exchanges. I don't think he can risk too many exchanges to build up the necessary investment that he's going to need to slow down Figueiredo in those later rounds. I think he's going to catch him square on the chin. Big guy. I think there's going to be a similar size thing in here, but definitely Figueiredo's going to have the power, and I said before, he's got the reach. Very dangerous guy. We can read through some stats. Perez lands more per minute. As I said, volume guy. Figueiredo's a lot slower. I actually feel like this fight is going to be very slow, because if you watch with Perez, there can be boring fights. Like him versus Espinoza, they landed 4 strikes in 2.5 minutes, purely because they were just feeling each other out. Espinoza throwing feints, moving around. I feel like Figueiredo can slow down Perez, lower his volume, and make it a selective kind of fight. And when he does that, I think he's going to crack Perez on the chin. Perez shoots for a takedown, gets guillotined in the first round for a finish by Figueiredo. Really looking forward to it, and if he does win, give him the winner of Moreno-Royval, especially if it's Moreno. If it's Royval, we can talk about maybe Garbrandt coming down. But if Royval wins, I kind of feel like he deserves it as well. But I also could see them doing a Royval versus Askarov or something along those lines for the next title shot. But either way, if Moreno wins, definitely give him the next title shot. But listen, man, anything can happen in MMA. Perez is a dangerous guy. Very, very dangerous. I don't think he should be as much of a favourite as he is. Figueiredo, in my opinion, should be like a 2-1 favourite. But I'm going to bet on specifics. I'm going to go with Figueiredo by finish in the first round. I'm not confident on submission. He could KO Perez. I'm going to go with Figueiredo by finish in the first round. And mainly because I don't see him winning if that doesn't happen, to be honest with you. I don't see him winning unless he wins in the first 2.5 rounds. I don't think he's going to be doing good in the 4th or 5th round with Alex Perez. And I don't think he's going to be surviving, because Perez can really put on the pressure as soon as you show him signs of weakness. I'm going to bet on Figueiredo in the first 2 rounds. Might narrow it down to the first round to make a little bit more money. That's my bet. I'm going to go with that. Thank you very much for watching. That's my video. Amazing stuff. Figueiredo versus Perez. A lot of people are shitting on this, but I really like it because it's given them the spotlight. Every MMA media member is going to be talking about the fight this weekend. I'm making a prediction video for this fight. The headline, the title fight of my full card predictions. Like all of this, even my insignificant channel in this grand scheme of things, it's all generating some hype around Figueiredo. And if you can pull this one off, there's going to be good times. But one thing I don't want to see right now, and fingers crossed this doesn't end up happening, is the flyweight title just passing around between different people, because I feel like the flyweight division, you don't get the same boom for taking the belt off of a champion, because the champion upon recent years hasn't really been able to build their name, so there's not really any transfer of hype. You know what I mean? Like GSP was the champion. If someone beats him, all of the hype is theirs now. Conor McGregor was the champion at lightweight. Khabib beats him. Boom. Khabib is a giant star. I just feel like I want to see someone defend it for a bit. Then we'll hand over the title. Figueiredo gets the job done in the 1st or 2nd round. Goodbye. Toodle pip. Click that button up there. See you later.